Yeah, I just got back from watching Running Man, and it is another one of those Stephen King's books adaptation into the big screen. So when I saw the trailer, I was really interested in the whole world. I love the futuristic. It looks like the main character, Ben Richards, it looks very interesting. I definitely like what he was trying to do. He was like a family man trying to go into this deadly show, trying to get money for his daughter and for his family, trying to get out of poverty and see if he could somehow make it. It's actually called The Running Man, and you have to survive for 30 days, which sounds really good, but I don't think it was very executed very well. It had all the great stuff to actually become a really good film, but I think, in my honest opinion, I think it ran a little bit too long. I think it had some good moments from the very beginning, but like halfway through, it's starting to get tedious, kind of boring, even though they have some action films in it, which that's the only part that actually kept me awake. But everything else, there were some characters there as well that came out of nowhere that you had to feel something for them. And to be honest, I didn't care for some of these characters, which is a shame because I definitely do like some of these actors. And I definitely like the futuristic world. I definitely like how there is basically this too, that there's poverty and obviously there's the rich, and you just gotta, see how the rich is living in a different world instead of how like people in poverty, like struggling to survive. I like the currency there. Basically, like new bills, which are interesting and they're basically hard to get. And I definitely do like the main villain, Lee Pace, who's basically played as Evan McCone, who is basically the big CEO, the big boss is pulling the strings, and he's the one who's actually set out to look for the best contender, who is Ben Richards, who sees him. He has more guts and he has the fire within him, and he could actually go out and most likely win it. But it actually turns out there's more to the story as the show keeps going, and you'll start seeing the darker truth behind it, which I don't want to spoil. Because there is interesting stuff here. It just doesn't execute in the very finale, which I do think it's just very painful, which I roll my eyes. I just wish it was a little bit like told better. And I do think the movie went off a little bit too long. I wish it was at least like 30 minutes shorter. I think they could cut off a little bit of things here and there. I don't think some of these side characters, especially when some of these came out of nowhere, like Emily Williams, who you barely just see her in the very 30 minutes of the film, which I was just like, where do you came from? I thought she was going to be in this short scene and that would be it, but it looks like she played a bigger role into the film, which I was kind of shocked. I was like, why do we need this? But I guess they did try telling the story with it, but I don't think it worked. Like in the first hour, it was very interesting. I love everything about it. But after when it goes to the second hour, it does start falling apart for me when it starts going down after some of the actions and some of these characters that do come out of nowhere does hurt the film. And it felt like it should have ended like 30 minutes ago, but it just kept on going. And it just wanted to prove a point in the very ending, which executed poorly in my opinion. I wish it was a little bit told better. And it just felt like it was just kind of too long for its own good. I just wish it was just a little bit shorter. Just 30 minutes, and I think it would have been perfectly well done and cut out some of these side characters that I think that not a lot of people did care, that just came out of nowhere. I do like the scientific world, at least. It does feel appealing, especially with there's, cool technology you get to experience. The action part holds it up. The game show part was the most interesting part. But when it goes off from that, it does get a little bit stale with the plot. It started to fall down, and this is why I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it an average C. There is some things that I like about this film, and there's a lot of parts that I did not like. Obviously, some of the side characters wasn't really good. Some of them were great. You could tell like some of the acting was really appealing, and some side characters that did come in that kind of just came out of nowhere, almost like last minute, just shoehorn in here, and it just fell off. But at least the action saves this film, and I did like the game show part of it for the first half of the film, and then after the next half you could kind of tell that the quality of the film starting to go down, and it felt like telling a little bit too much with the plot, and I wish it just kind of contained it a little bit more to the show itself and or it could have just been a lot shorter, like maybe just an hour, just a 30-minute, you know, cut from the film, you know, for 30 minutes. I felt like it ran a little bit too long. Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that you could definitely skip until you watch it in the streaming service. I think that's when it could be very watchable and you won't hate yourself from spending money from this film. Yeah, it's just gonna be one of those movies, definitely either gonna like or hate. It's just gonna be one of those casual films to go see. The Running Man does have good moments with some characters, action scenes, interesting futuristic world, but I think the movie ran a little too long. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next movie review. Later, guys.